In a video chat. And
hello, everybody.
Hi.
I always forget to I actually did this speech or whatever. I recorded this for a convention, so y'all are going to get it now, and then you'll get it again in June. Nice. Lucky, hopefully lucky y'all. But I really want this to be more of a conversation. So let's talk really quick. How does recruiting make y'all feel? Put in the comments, like when you go start messaging people and really start that conversation, how does that make you feel? Is it scary? Is it exciting? Do you want to throw up? Is it exciting? Yes. So I've actually learned through lots of books is that feeling of fear and excitement is actually the exact same feeling. So it's like the track star that's on the block ready to run a race. They will tell you, I am excited. My stomach is queasy. I'm sweating. I'm ready. But that exact same feeling can also be harnessed as fear. So it's it's all mindset. So okay, so this call that I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to do it verbatim, but the very first part of this is all about mindset. You guys, we can't have recruiting without mindset because our mindset fuels our actions, which fuels our results. It's not the other way around. Okay. We don't just all of a sudden just feel motivated and then we go diamond. We actually have to, it starts here and then our feet start moving and then our hands start moving and then things start working. Have y'all ever felt like in a season where you feel a little overwhelmed? Or maybe you feel unfocused, or maybe something's going on with your marriage and all you can think about is your marriage, or maybe something's going on with your kids and you can't work because all you can focus on is this. Y'all, that is what it starts here. We cannot reach goals until our head is in the right place. And so that is why we always talk about doing a checkup from the neck up. Your head has to be in the right place. You missed the call that Megan Malakovic and I did the other day. She did a really great job at explaining mindset. So I'm not going to go into it a lot, but basically what Bob Heilig says is there is no action in the world that is going to make a difference for you until you address the negative beliefs you have behind them. It starts in your head. Okay. So when you go in to message someone, you guys, are you saying, oh, they're going to say no. I'm so bad at this. Oh, I'm so terrible. What are you telling yourself when you go into these messages? And if you want to put that in the comments, great. But I know for me, I had to change it to I had to go into it thinking, why is recruiting awesome? Why? Tell me why. Why is recruiting awesome, you guys? You can put it in the chat. I'll tell you some of the reasons. I think recruiting is awesome. I get to change people's lives when I recruit them. I love that I get to choose my coworkers. So when I am recruiting, I am then choosing the people that I get to work with. Brittany Duke, that was really sweet. Somebody else should say that. Why is recruiting awesome? Can y'all write down 10 reasons that recruiting is awesome? Yeah, you get to bless other families. Why else? Why is recruiting awesome? Yeah. To me, recruiting is awesome because I have a dream job that I get to go offer people. I was a mom who wanted to be at home with my kids, had to be at home with my kids, and this was a dream job for me. And I get to adventure and do all the things that I love. Okay, so it's the mindset of this is shifting. It's all about shifting what we're telling ourselves. We're not bothering people. We are blank. Why is recruiting awesome? Okay, so the mindset behind this is super important. And now we're going to talk about the action part. Okay, so this is the part that is really important. So if you've fallen asleep, this is the time to wake up. Let's talk about your funnel for a second. I went to a training on funnels and I kept going like this and everybody was making fun of me because it looked like I was talking about vaginas and uteruses and things. So just know that this is a funnel, not a vagina. Okay. So at the very top of your funnel, I did ask corporate, I was like, can y'all make me a graphic when I talk about this so that I'm not going like this the whole time? I can just point on the screen. Okay. So at the top of your funnel, you guys, you see how wide that top is? That is your network. Those are the people that you get to go help, the people you have influence over, the people that you've connected with on Instagram, the people that are liking and commenting on your posts. It is your network and it is wide. Let me tell you a very, very fun, like a really simple way I grew my network recently. So I bought a dog. Y'all know Murphy. Y'all saw him come at our Christmas party. I'm not telling you to buy a dog. I'm especially not telling you to buy a Great Dane, but we bought one. And what happened when we bought that dog and we brought people in, we did live videos with him. I let people see like him growing. I now have this whole new network of Great Dane dog moms that I didn't have before. Okay, because I've allowed them into that part of my life. We've connected over the food that they eat and how long they live. And their poops are like massive, like all the random stuff I didn't even know was like a thing. And now we have like become friends over this. One of which, y'all, is a dream teamer of mine who I didn't even know had a Great Dane. And now we talk all the time. And I'm like, I'm so excited. Okay, so like I have expanded my network in that way. Yes, he is Jamie. Another way are Facebook groups, like a mom group. That's how I met Taylor. What are some of the ways that you guys have expanded your network or you have intentionally connected with specific people? Anybody want to share some of those?
I'll share.
Yeah.
I just say yes to a lot of things.
Mhm.
Like I'm a homebody and I would much rather be home and be in my comfy PJs by 8 p.m. every night. But I also know it's good for mama to get out. And so I do say yes to coffee with friends or wine with girlfriends, a new mom's group or a new workout class that I've been invited to, or play dates. Like that's when I live where I live, that's how I expand my network because I live in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, yes. And then like Lauren, yes, like connecting over the best way to connect with somebody is just like over a struggle like that, like PCOS or something like that. I know, yeah, I know when we were trying to have a baby, it was about a year and a half where we were trying, and I had a lot of moms that I was connecting with during that time because I was being vulnerable about that season. So yes, I love that. And being social, very important. Okay, so moral of the story, you will never, ever, ever, ever run out of people to share plexus with if you are intentionally connecting with people. I have been in this for 4 years. There has been 1 month out of the entire 4 years that I have not recruited 3 or more people. You guys, it's because I do this stuff. It is not rocket science. All right. So you have your network, top of the uterus, up here, funnel. Then you have, how do we move them down that funnel? Okay, so the goal, the signing part is down at the bottom. The really, really small part, the wide part is the top of the funnel. That's where you have the most people. I know, I see you, Brittany, over there with all your pelvic floor therapy knowledge, laughing. I know. Okay, so top of the funnel, how do we move them down? The next step, after you have the right mindset, okay, we're gonna start the conversations. You have your network, let's message some people. Now, some common things, y'all, I have done this, okay? Some common things that I have seen when messaging that are done incorrectly. It's not even really incorrect. It's just not authentic and it doesn't work. Are when you just message someone and you're like, hey, I do plexus. You should try this. Or like something just very like, you're not putting a lot of effort into it. You're not talking about them or complimenting them. I learned this lesson the hard way. There's a video. It's by Eric Worre. If you have never watched it, you should watch it because I wanted to do this for real. Okay, so I was like, I want to do this. Eric Worre, I think it's Worre, and it's called Recruit 20 People in 30 Days. And so I was like, I want to do that. Let's do it. So I started and I did exactly what he told me. I made a list of people throughout all my network, right? That list of 100. And I started messaging people. I was like, I'm game. I was staying up late. Y'all, not a lot of people were messaging me back because I was focused on the quantity of messages and not the quality of messages. So what I decided was I was going to do this Eric Worre thing, but I had to change how I was messaging people. I couldn't just message a generic message to everybody. I couldn't say, hey, can I send you, I can't even think of a bad message anymore, but like we all know there are messages people don't respond to. So as I did this it was like 100 people in like a week. I was like, okay, I've got to shift. So about 20 or 30 people in, I started having to be authentic. I started having to message them and actually go look at their Facebook walls before I messaged them. So I could say, oh my gosh, I saw last week that your kids did XYZ. That's so exciting. So I had to be very intentional and authentic with these messages. So I'm just going to read y'all really quick a message I sent 3 years ago because I love cold messaging. A cold message to me is simply just you starting the conversation with the intention of discovering their pain. It is not a presentation for your link. It is not a presentation with a video. It is literally me asking them a question and figuring out if this is something that can fill a gap in their life. Okay, so let me read you this message really fast. All right. Hey, Jordan, I love watching your sweet family grow. We also have 2 girls and we love it, but I know Zach is dying for another boy in the house. I want to be really open with why I'm reaching out to you. I love Plexus, obviously, because I talk about it all the time. I started because I just wanted the products so our family could be healthier. Then a year later, I was ready to be a stay-at-home mom, but we couldn't afford to do that without me making an income. I love my husband, but his teaching salary leaves no room for extras like going to visit my parents in Texas or vacations. So I had a friend who was a millionaire with Plexus, and I decided to try it out too. And it's been the best thing ever for our family. Y'all, I think I was like senior gold at this time, by the way. I remember how personable and how positive you were, and you would be amazing at this. I'm semi-rambling at this point, but I've honestly just been nervous to bring this up to you because we haven't talked since college. So my question is, have you ever thought about trying the products or doing something like this from home? I'll put this in the chat. But I want to point out a few things about this message. The first thing I did was I connected with her just on a personal level. The next thing I did was I told her my story basically in like one sentence. Okay. I'm not like giving her paragraphs and paragraphs. And then I complimented her. And then I always end it with a question. You guys, if we just send messages and assume people are going to message us back without ending in a question, it's not going to happen. Okay. We have to there has to be a call to action in some way, shape, or form. So let me put this in the chat really quick before I forget. Okay. So I love leading with the business in my messages. Does anybody else you have questions about that? Or yeah, give me questions. What do y'all think about that part? The sending of the messages. Does anybody have questions about that? Do you struggle with that? Do you lead with products more than you lead with the business? Talk to me about this.
I will say that I love leading with the business and then falling back on the products afterwards. And something I've learned is that you don't have to make $50,000 a month to lead with the business. Like that's why we have this entire team is we can share our team stories and we can say, hey, I am on my way to hitting this rank next. My best friend just hit this rank. So you don't have to make millions of dollars a year to talk about the business.
I remember when I started, Lauren, I would just say I would be very, very simple. Like, this last week I was able to get a pedicure and I didn't have to feel guilty about taking the money out of our family bank account. Like that was really important to me. So I think we forget sometimes those are important. I know y'all have questions about messaging. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I was just gonna say I've got like my screen here, but you guys are here. That I love this message and I think it's really great to use. It just cut off. I think it's too long for this in the chat. Can we maybe get that later in our threads?
Yes. It literally at the end it should say something like this from home.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here's the other thing, you guys. Don't copy paste messages. Bob Heilig has a really great podcast on this, but he basically says, if it's not coming straight from your heart, they're gonna know. They'll ever see that it's a reel. They're like, they're gonna know. And they're like, no, they're not gonna know. They're like, they're gonna know. Y'all, they're gonna know. So it has to come straight from your heart onto your messenger from them, okay? Or to them. Okay. No questions about sending. Everyone just feels super comfortable.
So I've been starting to reach out more with the business first instead of supplements. Before it was strictly supplements. And then if they showed interest, I would bring up the business. Now I'm like, what interests you? The business first. And then I say, or the supplement.
I love, and
So,
Tiffany
but
talked about that last week.
Yeah. So she's where I got that from.
Yes.
But it's still hard. For me, messaging is still hard for me.
Carrie, can I ask a question with that? So
Yeah.
Are you voice messaging that? Are you texting it? Does it depend? Like, how are you doing that?
It depends on because there's a couple of them too that I'm in 3 ways with, and it depends on what they start it with. And then I'm like, okay, well, what interests you, the business or the supplements? Like, but if it's a cold message I'm sending, I always bring up business first. Now I wasn't that way.
Yeah, I struggle with leading with the business because I think it's, I don't know. I just struggle with it. So
For me, what I've found is that if I'm leading with the products, I'm going to get a lot of product takers. If I'm leading with the business, I'm going to get a lot of business builders. And so that's kind of where, yeah.
That's what happened to me. I got tons of product takers for a long time and no business builders. I was doing it all on my own.
And you want all of it. And truthfully, there's so many on here that like I led, like for example, I mean, I'm just looking at Callie's right under me. Like I led with the products and the business with Callie. I wanted her to do both, but I genuinely want her to deliver products. And I knew she had to deliver products before she would start a business. But in the back of her, like, I always would drip that, like, I know you, I want to go on trips with you. I know you'd be great at this. Right. So it was like this constant like drip that was probably semi-annoying, but she's here. So it must have worked. Okay.
I'm learning to lead with products and business at the same time, just because I think that it really piques people's interest to hear, hey, you can get your products paid for, because obviously everybody needs the products. But if I put the bug in their ear that I don't pay out of pockets for my products, I haven't paid out of my pocket since September. And if I put that bug in their ear, they're like, hey, you know what? I need this. And there's a way that I don't have to pay for this. And that's how I've reframed my, because leading business was really scary for me. So I've just learned to start that way.
Yeah. And I think, so the people we're messaging, you guys, it's not always us just starting the conversation, right? Sometimes it's somebody who's liked our post. Sometimes it is people that have voted on a poll. So there's lots of different people, but I'm specifically talking here about the people on our list, that 100 list that we all have, at least 50 to 100 people that we want to talk to, those dream teamer girls. I typically leave the business. Bob Hallig says he says you can do both, but what I have personally found is that when I lead with the business, I get more people wanting the business. And I love this business just as much as I love the product. So I want people to do both. I want them to experience both. So anyway, we send messages, okay? And then it is time for sharing, okay? And Taylor, I just saw you mention third-party tools, so that's a perfect segue. The next thing is a share step. Okay, you guys, if you don't do this, it is a must. We have to use third-party tools. I know. I love for people to know that I know what I'm talking about. I love for people to know that Jordan is smart. Man, she knows her stuff. Okay. I love for people to know that, but that is not duplicatable. What is duplicatable is that asking really, really good questions. Okay. You've sent a message. They've responded positively. Oh my gosh. Yes, I have been thinking about doing something like this from home. You ask some really good questions like, well, what are your health goals? What have you tried to help in the past? Do you take any medications? How are your bowel movements? What are your hormones like? How does this affect your family? Ask all the questions. Okay. And then it's time for them to start asking questions like, well, what is this? How does it help? What does it help with? And that's when you start sending third-party tools like the triplex video or a testimony, and usually both. 99% of my conversations go from me sending a message, asking a lot of questions. Here's the triplex video. You can send them a 2-minute long video on how this is going to help them and what the ins and outs of gut health are. You can send that. But what that is telling them is that I have to be really smart in order to do this business. What is duplicatable is them seeing all I have to do is ask really good questions, love on people, be myself, and send a YouTube video. I can be a millionaire. That'd be pretty cool. Okay. So do y'all see that? Like how those that share stuff is just super important. Okay. So then we share tools. We do not word vomit. I know you want to share everything you know, but you have to hold it back. Do not word vomit everything you know at this point. Okay. Some other questions that I really like after we've tagged them in a story or sent them a third-party tool would be like, what did you think of that testimony I shared? Can you see yourself in that story? What questions can I answer for you? That's actually, if there's ever like a lull in the conversation, my favorite question is, what questions can I answer for you? Or what questions do you have for me? So that's my favorite, like, kind of kickstart the conversation. And then the next step is inviting, and Haven is going to talk about this here in a minute, but I love the inviting step because has anybody ever felt like the conversation kind of stopped after you sent a video, or maybe they didn't respond to something? Has anybody ever had that? Okay. I love the invite step because it takes away that weirdness. How do you share testimonies? Oh, that's actually a really great question, Hope. So we have a group called Gut Health and Happiness. And I always just add them to the group, and or there's another one called Real People, Real Stories, and they're 5-minute long testimonies. And I just tag them. I'll literally just tag them in the story and say, hey, listen, I just tagged you in that story. Do you see it? And can you relate to it? And I try and do that with every single person because it really builds a lot of belief. So does that help, Hope? Yes, she says yes. Okay, great. Okay, so we've sent a message. We've shared a couple third-party tools. They're seeing a big picture. They've got some belief. Now it's time to invite them to something. So we're either inviting them to buy the product because they're ready. Okay, buy, try, or learn. Buy, try, or learn. The first one is if they're like, okay, what's the pricing? This all sounds really great. I totally connect to that story. I am ready to roll. Then that's when you say, okay, I'm calling you. Done. Get on the phone, talk to them about pricing, talk to them about their combo, walk them through sign up. Okay. Did y'all hear that part? Get on the phone. And then, but if they're not ready, you've sent the story, you have you've sent the YouTube video, they're still not ready. It's not you thing. Their belief still has some things to roll through. They need some belief built. They need to taste it. They need something else. And that's fine. That's why we have this invite step. So the next thing I do is I either invite them to an event. Those 15-minute chat events are great. We used to do events on our gut health page all the time, but we've really kind of transitioned into these chat events. So some sort of an event, or do an event, maybe it's for a newbie, those like launch events, do something like that. Or we are going to get them into a sample group. Okay. Every single time. Sample group, invite to an event if they're not ready. And guess what I love? I get somebody into, hey, for an example, okay. So Susie's not ready. I might say, hey, Susie, I think you still have some questions, and that's totally okay. I did too. I actually watched my friend for 2 years before I started Plexus. Would it help you if you tried a few of the products? Can I get you in a sample group? You can test a few things out, learn a little bit more, and then we can make a decision after that. And then she goes into the sample group. She's still not ready. That's fine. Hey, I think you still have questions. It's fine. We have an event coming up next week. I think it's exactly what you need to decide whether or not this is going to be helpful for you. She comes to the event, and then you finally get her on the phone, and that's when you can sign her up. Do y'all see the flow of this? Okay, it's just like layers of belief, different steps. And so that is where, and if it's a dream team or you guys, I have sent free samples. For several of you guys on this call, I sent you, hold on, I'll show you what I sent. Hold that thought. I used to do a handwritten card, and I would take something like this. Some of you guys are smiling because you got something like this. I would send you something like this, and I would take little sticky notes. This is our Exceed magazine, and I would like circle things and sticky note, be like, you need to see this part. Like if I knew they were into family health or, whatever. Or if I was in the magazine, or one of our teammates was. So like I would send stuff like this with a few samples, a handwritten card, and I would do stuff like that. Okay, so there's always a next step. You can always invite people to do more. Don't just stop. The last part of this is follow up. And this is like way off of track by the way, from what we're going to be talking about inclusion. But follow up is just so key, you guys. That is where they usually say anywhere from like the 5th to the 7th time you talk to someone is when they're going to sign up. I signed up someone this last month that I've been talking to for 3 years. She's come to 2 sample groups and 3 different events I've done over the last 3 years. She was just ready and she signed up her mom with her. Okay. So I'm just telling y'all, there's different layers to this. It will take time with some people, and that's okay. So anyway, we have our network, top of the funnel. You move them down by sending a message to them, starting that conversation. You cannot change lives until you start the conversation, and that is our job to do. End with a question. When they respond, you share third-party tools with them, invite them to try, buy, or learn, and then you follow up and you repeat. And that may be getting into a different event or a different sample group or something else that you're doing. Another thing that I really love to follow up with you guys is sometimes I'll just make up a discount. I'll be like, oh my gosh, so crazy. I just got a $10 code. Are you ready? I got 4. Or I remember one time I had like these cute little cups. They were like $7 on Amazon. I was like, hey, oh my gosh, we just released an incentive this weekend only. It ends Sunday. When you order, you get a free cup, right? Like I would just do little things like that all the time. I can just promise you that you will never, ever, ever feel stuck. You can just tap into that like authenticity and creativity. So anyway, I want to hear from you guys what y'all think about recruiting, what questions you have about any of that. And then Haven is going to talk about sample groups because we actually have one starting on Monday.
If you're brand new and just maybe thinking about doing this, how do you keep from being overwhelmed or just thinking like, where do I start right this second?
Yeah. So my suggestion to anyone is that there's always fluffy stuff. We've got threads, we've got team pages. The most important thing you can do for your business is to start and have a list and to start messaging. And I love, Marissa just said 3-way messages. So start by just asking a very simple question. Hey, I started this Plexus thing. I'm really excited about it. I'm hoping you see XYZ. I want to introduce it to you. Like, can we talk about this? Can we talk about your health goals? The most important thing somebody can do is to have a list and to get into action and start messaging. It is number 1 priority. So that is where I would start, is by messaging. And by the way, you guys, recruiting is also one of those things that I found that can totally get you out of a funk. If you feel like you're stuck or you feel like you're overwhelmed or there's so much going on, if you just put pause on all the fluffy stuff and just go do messages and just start getting into action and reaching those level 1 goals and then sharing the messages with your teams that you're sending, that is the number 1 way that I have found to get unstuck.
And I was going to say in the beginning, when I started, when I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. 3-way, like ask the simple question. I would love to share this with you. Is this something you'd be interested in hearing about? You automatically put them in a 3-way message, and then you get to watch your sponsor, how they interact and what questions they ask and how they flow the conversation. And that's how you learn. And then you just copy that.
Yes. 1,000,000%. I don't feel like we talk about 3-way messages enough.
What would be your style if you feel like you've kind of overrun your 100 list? Like if you feel that you have maybe not so much overwhelmed them, but gave them maybe too much information too quickly? What would
Yeah.
be your best way to back that up and put yourself back out there and not be that person?
Yeah. Okay. I would say that. I do this all the time. Even if it's not my fault, I'm like, hey, I have to apologize. I was a little crazy a month ago when I started this. I was just really excited, but I've learned a lot and I'm going to keep learning a lot because it's important to me. And I may have given you too much. Actually, I know I gave you too much, but can we just start fresh here? Because I'm really excited about this. Like, I just follow my sword and just say exactly what I want to say. If you just said that to me, I'd be like, girl, you are crazy, but I totally get it. And yes, we can start this over.
And then end it with a question.
Yes, that. Just kick my desk. I love that question. Thank you, Jamie. Did I scare you? Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, I love that question. Did I scare you? And then sometimes I'll put like a weird GIF or something to make them. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people I have talked to, and then they've just kind of like fallen off. The conversation's like stopped. And then I will write them back and I'm like, dude, did I scare you? Like, I'm like really excited. So I probably just like scared you away. And I've probably signed like 8 people from that because they're like, no, you didn't scare me. Like my kids were like, growing up or something, like,
Yeah.
and so, but that's just like a very easy way to get that conversation flowing because you're not like salesy to them. You're like, I probably scared you because I was so excited.
I think that also makes you more relatable, but also show that there's still a love behind it. And that's why you're so excited to share that with them.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I learned in my first 100 person reach out, which I'm actually starting another one next week for myself because I'm ready to because maybe it's because I know it's coming, but anyway, what I learned from that first one was that I have to be real. Like I have to be myself. And it also feels just way better when you're writing messages, when you're yourself. When you're being fake, it just feels gross. What else? Any questions about messaging? Who, how? Okay. Let's talk really quick about the follow-up step using samples. Because I know y'all, we just got off of our Slim Down challenge. And I know that was like a big thing. We were all really excited about it. And that is the main reason we did that was for customer care, right? But we do sample groups every single month for recruiting. And there's 4 pillars to having a full successful legacy business with Plexus. One is recruiting, one is retention, one is leadership, and one is duplication. So that slim down we did, that was for customer care retention. That was to help with that piece. And then these sample groups are really focused on helping us recruit. Okay, so Haven, you want to tell us a little bit about the sample group coming up, and then if y'all have any questions about that, we're gonna chat through that, and then I really have a goal for us on the call to all follow up with at least one person, and we're gonna share some messages using the sample group. So, Haven.
Yes. Hey, everyone. Okay, so we're having it the 17th through the 19th. And this month we're doing a messenger chat instead of an event page. So it's something new, but I think it's gonna be super fun. And Jordan's already created the thread, and we have a fun little poll that we've started in there about like how you've met I guess we're not their sponsor yet, but how you met the person that invited them there. So if you are interested in joining in on this, we'll get y'all added to that thread tonight. But I love inviting people to stuff like this that have been really hesitant about making the big purchase because the sample box is only $20 and it comes with a $20 off discount code. And we have 2 different options as far as which sample box you want to go with. There's like, I don't even want to call it the weight loss one, but there's the one with MetaBurn, Active, Slim, in the Way. Then there's also like the beauty box with the collagen. Sorry, my messages are popping up. The collagen.
That one is actually
brown
not available
cleansers,
right now,
not
Haven.
cleansers. Oh, okay. That's good to know.
They
So we're
took
just
it.
rolling with
They took it
the
off so
other
they could
sample
add the moisturizer in, or the cleanser.
Okay. Okay. So we're only doing that other one, but I think it's a great opportunity for them to all try the 4 products for 3 days. But yeah, I would go ahead and make like a list of fence sitters, people you can follow up with, also people who have been liking your posts or commenting. I would say, Jordan, they need to order by Thursday, right?
Thursday at the latest, but they've been getting there pretty fast.
Okay. Yeah.
Sweet.
So I think that's everything.
Yeah. Haven and I really love these, obviously. Like, we love these sample boxes. Does
Yeah.
anybody have
When do
questions
you need to
about
order
them?
by? Yeah, when do you need to order by?
I would say Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
Thursday if possible. And so I will tell y'all, like, this month, I don't think it's possible for us to order the business builder pack right now. But like in the coming months, you could order that and just have those on hand. Also, you can always like break apart those boxes and hand out samples. But right now, you could even just order it for them and they could Venmo you $20 just to kind of keep it simple and make sure like they get that ordered in time. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards.
Brittany asked, what are we doing in the messenger group? That's a really great question because this is the first time we've ever done it. And I actually have a lot of diamonds saying, what are you doing? And they want our format. So Haven, we're basically going to take what we would have done on a group. We're going to share a little bit about the products that are in that pack, how they need to take them. And it's going to be more interactive, I think, like every day having them drop a selfie of them in their pink drink in this thread. And then like the poll is just like, how do you know your sponsor? Probably a healthful poll at some point at the end, like what was your favorite product? So very poll heavy, not very chatty. And then we will do some videos in between, like every day we'll have a testimony in there every day too. So I don't know, that's me and Haven are going on the fly on this one, but I think it'll be good. That's why I need more of y'all in there so y'all can tell us if it's good or not. Any other, is the messenger in a similar, yes, is a messenger group. Oh, no. So it's going to be 3 days long since it's a 3-day sample pack. So it will be like one testimony and one poll every day versus like in 1 hour, like 15-minute, like blitz. Yeah. And I'll start it off with like a video on just the expectations of what the boxes are, and don't expect to lose 50 pounds in 3 days. This is literally what it's for. So it's going to be very simple. I agree, Brittany. Yes, I agree. Lindsay Rim added me to the first one I ever was a part of, and I was like, oh, this is good. So anybody else?
Okay,
I think I've added everybody that asked. So if you haven't been added, let me know. What's up?
Who, and this is no shame, judgment free zone, who here has never utilized a sample group or sent a sample box before? Comment me in the chat.
Ooh. Okay, why? Why? Y'all tell me why.
Don't know how. Okay. So it's really easy to do. You actually order them from your own personal account and you just get their address and you ship it directly to them. The shipping's free, which is beautiful. And you can just have them Venmo you $20. And the coolest part of it is the sample packs come with a $20 redemption code. So once they pay for it, you tell them it essentially pays for itself because they have $20 to use towards their next combo. Anyways, I wanted to ask that question because I used to avoid samples like the plague. And I watched a training video by Emily Gibson once, and she said, if you're not sampling your business is not growing. And I was like, oh, dang, that kind of hurts. And I started sampling, and every single person I send a sample box to, I sign as an ambassador. It never fails.
Katie, she said she's scared because she doesn't like HC. But what I found, Katie, is that when they don't like it, it's like it's another point for me to be like, okay, that's great. That's what these are for, is to figure out what you're loving. We're going to do the other slim. So it's just a way for them to get like a measure of what they're liking and what they're not.
Jordan, can I tell you why I never done them?
Yes.
So, which is wild that I've never done one. I buy them to send samples and use the codes, but I've never actually gone to sample group because I kind of like Katie, I don't love the products that are in them. Like, my lane is gut health and not really weight loss. And I feel like everything in the sample box is geared towards weight loss. And so then, like, I already know, like, they're going to tell me their health struggles, and I know they need at least triplex, right? At least triplex, X Factor Plus, and Ease. And they don't get any of that. So now they're like, hey, loved this. And I'm like, well, based on what you told me, you actually don't need that. And so can you tell I've played this out in my head over and over, created lies of how it's going to go. And so then I'm like, okay, then I have to pivot and figure out, okay, well, I'm glad that you liked those things, but that's not what we're going to start on.
Yes.
So I can share a story to that because I literally just signed somebody from the sample group. But I did go over her health goals before I sent her a sample. So I already knew what she was working towards. Gut health and weight loss were critical for her. So I knew she would love the sample box to get started. But if somebody doesn't really need MetaBurn, they're still going to enjoy active, they're still going to enjoy whey, and they're still going to need slim in whatever combo they get. And maybe they can give their MetaBurn to their husband or their friend or whatever. But this really is just to give them a taste, obviously not to see any benefits. But the coolest part that I've seen with the sample group is you're getting them to enjoy products outside of gut health. So what that's yielded for me is, hey, here's our triplex video, and I would love to help you get started with this 3-day sample pack for $20 to get you to taste the products. Then they taste the products, they fall in love with the product, and now they're ordering the Renew You combo, not just the triplex.
Yeah, the big one.
Yeah, and so it's like a larger sell.
Because let's be real, you guys. Okay, first off, Callie, I love your brain. Your brain is beautiful. You are 1,000,000% overthinking it. I most of the time I give the MetaBurn to the husband, but I have never done a sample box and then not start with triplex. They always do. So that to me, it's never been a thing. And I like Chandler. They usually end up doing the Renew You Essentials because our lean is delicious. And how many of you guys do active or lean as an add-on to your triplex? I would say most of us. Yeah. So.
And the lean comes in the sample box?
Chocolate and vanilla. I have it. Do y'all want to see one? I think I have one.
Yeah. I've never seen like what comes in the actual sample box.
Yeah. So it's a much cuter, it's in a box, but I only have one, and I think I actually did the slim out of it, so it's not there. But so it comes with this little pack right here, and it has a MetaBurn here, a MetaBurn here, and then it comes with both leans. So there's on the different day, there's vanilla. So it comes with the lean, it comes with an HC, and it comes with an active. And I always have them do their slim one day by itself. Yeah. And then I have them mix it one day. Like it's like a playground. This is like a playground for them. They get to play with it, and like taste it. And
recipe cards.
Yeah.
There's recipe cards for the whey protein. So it's just very engaging and interactive. It's a lot more fun than just getting a stick of slim.
Yeah.
Is it only whey, or can it come in the vegan?
It's only whey.
It's only whey. Okay.
Yeah.
Jordan, somebody asked, like, how do you share the samples? Like, how do you talk about it?
Well, I love to share it on my stories. So I usually do a slide. It's like, hey, I've got a few of these boxes, total try it before you buy it kind of girl. And then I share a few slides about what it is and how it has a $20 off code. And then, y'all, most of the time I'm messaging people about these, like in Messenger about them. And that's usually where I get most of my people.
So do you start off the message with the sample box, or do you start off like talking about, I mean, their health goals and stuff, and then trying to find a combo? And then if they're like iffy about it, like committing to a whole combo, then you bring up the sample box? Or do you start a lot of conversations?
Yeah, I use this as a follow-up tool. So it's usually after I've done the send, share, invite. This is an invite step to me. Now, unless it's a dream teamer who I literally I know they want to do this with me, and I'm like, hey, listen, shoot me your address. One day, I know you're gonna do network marketing. I want it to do with me. I want you to do Plexus. Like, I know you're gonna love it. Send me your address. Then I will send it as like a reach out, but I rarely do that. Like, I maybe have done that 5 or 6 times in my entire career. So, okay. If this is scary, that means you need to do it. Okay? Okay, Chandler, thank you for bringing that
Once
up.
you
I had
send
no
one,
idea.
you're gonna be hooked.
Yeah.
Because my personal goal is to send 5 a month, and almost every single person that tries it signs as an ambassador.
It's just a great follow-up tool, y'all. Things get awkward when it just sits there. So just make it less awkward. Get a sample in their hand. Okay. Okay. Any other questions before we hop off?
I wanted to say something since you mentioned the 15-minute chat earlier.
Yeah.
We're doing another one this Thursday. So if anyone wants to add someone, just let me know and we can add you in. I think it's at 8 o'clock Eastern time.
Mm-hmm. And y'all, and what I love is like y'all could get them plugged into the chat event, and if they're not ready, get them a sample after, right? It's like always these next steps. So and then like if you do add them and you would get in with Lindsay, tell her, be like, hey, I've got a girl coming. She's struggling with thyroid issues. Do we have a story we could share with that, right? So just tell her, like, teamwork. Thank you, Lindsay. Will you put that rock stars, like the time and stuff?
Yep. Yeah, there's a poll on there so they can vote on the things they're most interested in changing and looking for and all that. So we kind of go off of that, who has the most votes. But yeah, definitely on there.
Sweet. Okay. Does everyone feel like you have a tool? Does everyone feel good about, I know what's next for these people now? Okay. It's less limbo. It's more like, hey, I got to get my crap done. Okay. Okay. I did record tonight, and I also have Tiffany's. I will be putting these both on YouTube as soon as we're done tonight. Thank y'all for this conversation. It went way longer than I thought, but I'm really thankful we had it. So y'all have a good night.